and welcome to another Doomtown Reloaded game at the Cardiff Sheriff event. We here have a Law Dogs deck versus Desolation Row in the second round. I think both players won their first round game, and pretty well, not standard starting posses. We've got Philip Swinford, Reverend Perry Embody, Lucy, Wendy and Andrew Burton over on the Law Dogs. Andrew already grifted to use Torrid's Bounty Mackeo, and Desolation Row's Ronnie Mackeo, Ali Hensman, The Fixer, Lawrence Blackwood and Fred Ames. Desolation Row possibly an unusual move, not using the Fixer, indicating possibly wants to run a Desolation Row job with the Fixer. Obviously he gives 4 bullets, even though the draw it's a very cheap 4 bullets and a cheap way of getting 4 income. Shane and Grays, the first deed there by Desolation Row, and then Wendy moving to Town Square for the Law Dogs, so that's basically to stop any Desolation Row job. Obviously the booting to send a dude home allows her to boot home the leader of the job, and because of that you don't then get the money even if you kill off the rest of the posse or you win the shootout. So we've got a whole gang of people moving to Town Square at the moment, so I imagine there's could see the Desolation Row job or just sort of a standoff. So Wendy has called out Ali, obviously to try and stop the control point, or Ali booting before she gets the control point. The Law Dog deck starting reasonably low on influence, only got 4 influence. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 over on the Desolation Row as well. Although obviously, presumably with Fred Ames, that can very quickly increase and sort of keep you in the game. So the players just discussing here who's in which posse, but I think the decision is going to be we're going to have everyone in both posses. And we're moving on to shootout plays. Desolation Row the first shoot action here. And it's going to pass. Not necessarily ready to play the first shoot action. You're going to assume that Wendy is going to probably boot someone home with the Law Dogs. First action we're going to use Pistol Whip, so Perry sends home the Fixer. He should go home booted, but he doesn't. Pistol Whip back for Wendy, so just change his mind to use Lawrence instead of Ali. Obviously Lawrence is going to have Ali is probably the primary shooter at the moment, or Fred, whereas Lawrence is only used as a supplement. He's still going to ratify his 1 draw bullet, even if he's got 0. So back to Law Dogs. Both posses now only with draw hands, so it could be a very close shootout. Setting your eyes on Fred, so possibly they're just playing that to get it out of his hand. So obviously he's still got 2 dudes with 2 things. So this is very trying to use Shane and Graves here, and this is an important bit. It only can be played an adjacent deed. It's not a location, so it can't be played to defend the town square or to defend your outfit card. And that's one I think that frequently gets newer or less experienced players. Perhaps actually brings it down to a power level that's reasonably not as overpowered as I think people might think it is if you play it wrongly there. So I think it's 3 draw for the Law Dogs. It's going to be 4 draw for Desolation Row. I don't know what either deck is playing in terms of their draw structures. I didn't play either of these guys during the day, and very seen 1 low ball hand. So 5s and 7s there for Desolation Row, 3s and 8s from the Law Dogs. So well, I'd definitely like to put 8s on the Law Dogs. Bounty Hunter, a very good card for Law Dog deck with being able to bounty people, call them out even when they're at home and things. So definitely there. 7s being discarded by Desolation Row. So possibly 5s and 7s, both very good number values for Sloane decks. 5 has a lot of good dudes for Sloane, Pancho and Barton. Also has the pearl handle revolver, which you want to make your good draw bullet guys. So we've got full house versus two pair, sorry, for Destination Rose. So it's going to be 2 aces. So Lawrence, one of them to go. I would suspect Ali, yes, is the other one. Fred Ames, with the influence keeping, is much better. I think he's mistakenly not aced them there, put them to discard pile. He does go home booted. So a very good position at the moment for the Law Dogs. Philip moving over to the Shane Graves, and I think Makayo comes over to defend. He'll get that back. So Makayo, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that name. I call it Makayo. Lucy goes over to Shane Graves, and Makayo calls out. I'm not sure whether it's Philip or Lucy there. Bit of a misplay, because now the Law Dogs can use the Shane Graves to get the gunslinger. It's a controller ability, it's not an owner ability, and so it's going to be at least 2 stud versus 0 draw. So a gunslinger comes in, it's going to be 2 stud, 2 draw versus top 5 cards. So feeling very confident here for Law Dogs. Always a chance if you're running a strong shootout deck to getting sort of a full house. I'm not sure, but 2 draw, you're always likely to come up against something reasonably similar. I think I'd be happy here if he does get even draw, because you can lose the gunslinger. That'll still force the loss of Macau. If you also have a full house, very unlikely you're going to see a 4 of a kind or a 5 of a kind, I think, on a top draw. Lucy, although no real cheating punishment from the dudes in the posse. Philip obviously gets the card cycle, and Lucy, you have bounty, but it's a legal full house versus a cheating 3 of a kind. So that's 3 hand ranks, and I don't see any resolution plays here happening. Makayo is going to be aced. So no resolution abilities, but it does force the usage of a joker for the Law Dogs. Bounty for Makayo as well, which is a nice little bonus, but I don't think the real purpose there is getting rid of some influence, and Destination Row down to 2 influence already. No upkeep, because obviously the fixer, he's got 3 upkeep, and there's only 3 production on Destination Row, not getting any of the production from Shane and Graves, which is controlled by the Law Dogs. And so both pairs pass. We move on to the next day. Travis Moon discard there from the Law Dogs, so yes, definitely looking like 5s and 8s at least. Probably 3s as well. I think I saw a shotgun in the hand earlier, and obviously we've seen a stun in your eyes. So 3 5s and 8s. I think against 4, 5 and 7 over the Destination Row. So both games fairly standard 3x16 decks, or strong shootout decks based on 3 values. So low ball day 2. It's going to be a full house for the Law Dogs versus probably unlikely yes 3 of a kind. So that's definitely going to be Destination Row's thing, which is really actually very useful for him at the moment, because first of all it gives him the bounty, sorry, not the bounty, it gives him the upkeep from winning low ball, so he's actually making some money, one a turn, and also it allows him to pistol whip Wendy before she can use her ability to respond to the Destination Row job. Being a low ball winner is, I think, too key. I think in the early parts of Doomtown we've not really seen it having many advantages. I mean, Morgan landslide decks really only use it very usefully, and it allows you to pistol whip and make the smart choice and avoid all those shootouts, whereas more shootout decks I don't think are too worried about going first or second in the shootout. You're likely going to play any shootout cards you have. I think, and occasionally being second gives you a bit more of an advantage in that you're allowing you see your opponent's first shootout action before you make your response. So obviously, if they pass, you possibly think, well, I'm in a better position, I can just pass, and if they're taking the risk of not playing a shootout ability, or if you see them like they've pistol whipped. So the fixer moves to the town square, possibly to run a Destination Road job in the future, and I imagine Wendy's going to move to the town square here in order to stop that Destination Road job. So obviously, if she moves from home, then she comes in booted, and she can't boot anyone home. So even though she's going to be a good shooter with the 2 stud still, the ability is much more useful against Destination Row. So Destination Row, they'll probably just run the job straight off, because obviously then Wendy will come in booted. Probably still would have opposed that job there, I think, with Wendy. Although you obviously do run the risk, you know Destination Row is running 5s, and because of that you're probably worried about pistol whip, and if you obviously say Wendy gets pistol whipped home, then you've got no stud shooters, until you're just really running very low draw against, obviously, draw on Destination Row, but the 4 draw does give you that option of getting rid of all those off-value cards that you're running with, or if you've got maybe 3 of a kind and you want to then you can then get rid of the 2 other cards, and hopefully then maybe pull a cheating 4 of a kind and 5 of a kind. I'm not sure. I mean, 3 5s and 8s cheating punishment you've got. Well, so you're running Bounty Hunter. It's then you're really very limited for your cheating punishment on 3 5s and 8s. Whereas 4 5 and 7 you're probably running Coach Whip. So that's also another danger of not having any stud dudes in your posse for the Law Dogs, and that you're likely to cheat on just draw, or you're going to have to get rid of some better cards. Like maybe you've drawn sort of a good 2 pair, but you're cheating one of those pairs, so you have to get rid of it because you don't want to cheat, because you're going to face acing on Coach Whip. So the fixer is running the Destination Road job here. Both players just looking through the discard piles, and shootout actions. Players just taking a quick break here to refresh, but so a bit of confusion there, I think, with passing on shootout actions. So Wendy's sitting home the fixer. So again, even if you're successful here with Fred, he's still not going to get any money. And selling your eyes on Fred, so he's down to 0 draw, so it's not looking very good. And this, I think, probably is unusual for Destination Row not to run 3s, because obviously selling your eyes is a very good card for Destination Row in reducing your opponent's bullets, and especially against Wendy. I mean, okay, first Destination Road job you run, you might not actually make it because of Wendy, but if you can get rid of Wendy, then it's going to make your future Destination Road jobs very easy. So I can't quite see what the Lord Dog's got here. Something a bit risky, he says. So he does show some Coach Whips though. So 3 of a kind versus 2 pair, so it's 1 difference. So this is going to discard Fred. Have seen some taking, sorry, it's not Who You Know in the Law Dog deck, so although he's only got 1 money, I think, there, so he's not going to be able to play that at the moment to force the ace. So instead he's just discarded, but still Destination Road down to 2 influence, so Law Dog just looking for 2 control points to win this game. He can't get back Shane Graves at the moment. Lord's got 3 influence there, so if he sends any of his if he sends the fixer over with his 2 influence, he's just going to get called out, and there's going to be a gunsling coming to the posse. So it's he needs sort of some way to force Philip or Lucy home. And I'm surprised actually somewhat that we're not. The Lord Dogs doesn't try and put a bounty onto the fixer, because obviously Philip and Lucy, who are safe at Shady and Graves, can both boot there to bounty up the fixer, and then a bounty hunter can force out the fixer. Wendy can join, and you've got 3 stud versus 4 draw, and you've got to feel confident that you're going to get rid of someone there. So day 3, another low ball hand. Yep, some more 3s and 5s. And it's another 4 out. Oh, no, sorry, it's 3 of a kind there. It's a 5 and 8. Against 2 pair on destination row, 4s and 7s again. Coach whip to boot Wendy. So that means she can't now just send the fixer home if he runs a destination row job. I mean, I still think I would oppose a destination row job here, although you've got to worry about a pistol whip from the fixer sending Wendy home, and then it's just a straight draw. So perhaps we wouldn't. He doesn't have he's not making a lot of money with no income return. But presumably as well, I mean, you could also just throw a lot of bodies at it for the Law Dogs. I mean, you've got Perry and both Andrew and Perry. Perry really not doing much. With 3 5s and 8s, not going to make his pull a lot to unboot dudes. So spending 4 here to play Ulysses, so he's now up to 4 influence, but he is going to lose 1 if he doesn't make any money the next. He doesn't win the low ball next turn. He's now got 4 upkeep and only 3 income. But now Decision Road Job run. Now the Lord Dog's going to oppose. So Lord Dogs don't contest. So 4 money there for Decision Road. And that's very nice. It keeps him. Well, would allow him to play another deed, but I don't think this is the point in time to play another deed. Although, I mean, Wendy really the only candidate to move to an additional deed, because if you move either away from Shane and Graves, you can send 2 influence over, and then you're going to have a gunslinger, and you can probably win that fight, so you'll force them home. So Wendy and both Perry and Andrew don't have any influence to take control of deeds. So but then it does lose a lot of Wendy's power, and that Wendy can't then has to boot to Town Square if she wants to oppose the Destination Road job. So now you could possibly look to play another deed on the Destination Road side, although Ulysses would be the only person who's going to sitting the deed, because obviously the fixer is going to get booted running the Destination Road job. And that's perhaps why you just let the Destination Road job succeed here, in that it's not giving you much mobile influence over the Destination Road side. They've only got Ulysses unbooted. Shane Graves isn't a saloon, so he can't send anyone home there. He's not going to be worth the extra control point there either, although it's probably a second point. I mean, there's 4 influence over on the Law Dogs, and at the moment just 1 control point on the table. The Law Dogs don't have any other way to generate more control points from their dudes and whatnot. They just have really playing deeds as their deeds, whereas Destination Row is always at risk of getting the control points with bounties. That's why you might see an opposition to the fixer next time, because that will give them a control point. And then if you can get back Shane Graves, it's 2 control points to 4 influence. And if you can pick off maybe Lucy and Philip somehow, then that's game over. So we're going into another day 4 here, another low ball hand. And both players just shuffling their decks, discard piles after going all the way through. So yes, just some discussion going on between the players, but not too much going on. Both players are cut there, and so they're just going to finish off their low ball hands. So 3 5s and 8, so 3 of a kind there for Law Dogs, and it's unlikely to be anything better because it's a pair there on Destination Row. I think that's both jokers gone now though for Destination Row. I think it's only 1 joker for the Law Dogs, so it's going to limit his very strong shootout hands, probably just a full house. I mean, obviously got 4 of a kind is unlikely, but puts out a legal 5 of a kind, and I haven't seen any cheating punishment from Lord Oggs yet. I don't know whether when he looked through the discard pile he saw any cheating punishment. That's probably a very useful piece of information there, because really there's no Tommy, who is one of the better dudes for cheating punishment, because obviously it gives you the increase in hand ranks. One off the bat just for cheating, and 2 if your hand is also legal. So that's Charlie's place. So booting the fixer with too much attention. That's an excellent play there. It stops the fixer from running a Destination Row job, but I suspect Ulysses is going to move to Charlie's place here, because that's just going to protect it very easily. Yeah, he's got the income now that he'll make money each turn. You're unlikely to see too much attention every turn on the fixer, so you can keep running the Destination Row job, and you've got to feel comfortable with it. If you've got a pistol whip, you can pistol whip Wendy home, possibly take out the other 2 deeds, because they're only on because they're only on. It's going to be 3 draw against your 4 draw. Shotgun goes on to Philip. That's an interesting choice, but obviously he's only he and Lucy are actually in a location they can control. Might send Wendy here to Shane and Graves to pick up that shotgun, because that then would stop the fixer from being able to run Destination Row job ever again, or even just even give it to Andrew, because that puts him on 3 draw. And really, what you look at the moment, I think with the shotgun is just to kill the fixer, not looking at it to win the shootout with it. So 2 control points now for Lord Oggs versus still 4 influence over on Destination Row. Still not a lot of money even the Lord Oggs side. He's not played a single deed. Don't know whether he's running a very deed-like deck. Possibly it seems unusual, but I suppose you can get away with Lord Ogg decks of essentially just trying to whittle down your opponents with bounty hunters, try and remove all their influence and basically just take over their deeds, and use. If you don't play many deeds yourself, then you've got a lot more shooter actions, a lot more actions in general to play cards and to influence, affect the shootouts. So I'll not be surprised to see Ulysses. Now Ulysses can't move over because Wendy can just call him out and send him home, so that's going to be another problem there. I think that's a very good reaction by Destination Row there to, the Lord Oggs there to go and take over Charlie's place. So I think pass there from Destination Row. So Wendy's bullets being raised. Yeah, Ulysses is. So players just discussing here the shootout decks, and they're both going for full houses.
I've done it enough times with this deck that I know it can do it, and it's just not today.
So
I have a Destination Row deck that's almost 316, so almost 3 times 16, and yeah, the number of times I 310. This is a 316.
So Destination Row, they're just saying is on a 3x16, so yes, definitely 4, 5s and 7s. I haven't seen any off-value cards. You obviously can have 1 or 2. Although if he's got, I think he had 5 starting dudes, so yeah, yes, so he could actually would 3x16 would just be his entire hand. So both players passing, I think, and we're going to go into another day. Still looking very good for the Lord Oggs here, though. It's really what he needs is a Destination Row job that can wipe out a couple of those dudes. I mean, he's still got a problem of getting the Lord Ogg dudes off his own deeds. I mean, Wendy's always going to call out the first dude who comes over. Perhaps there would be a fix versus Wendy, really. So you send the fixer over, Wendy calls out the fixer, and you get sent home, but then Ulysses moves over, and you can send Wendy back to Town Square booted. And then possibly, so what have we got here? It's 4 of a kind for the Law Dogs versus 4 of a kind for Destination Rose. So the Law Dogs are going to win this one, and that's going to mean the death of.
No, you can't choose. You coach with. I choose.
Yes, so yes, because yeah, so Law Dogs win that shootout, or sorry, win that low ball and upkeep. So I think it's 4 upkeep here for Destination Rose. I think Ulysses or the fixer. Yes, so presumably we're going to lose the Ulysses here. So it's just the fixers, and it's 2 influence down for Destination Rose versus 2 control points on Law Dogs. And Wendy, well, the play here has got to be to go for Shane and Graves, I think. So Destination Road job here, job which is going to get him some money. So he's going to contest, and yes, so here's Philip coming in with his shotgun. So if he, so the 2 options are that you. Yeah, I think that might be game here. With no money, that's game. So thanks for watching. I'll have another game soon. See you all next time.